All right, so let's dive right in. Data analysis, huh? Looks like you've been doing some digging on this based on all the sources you sent over. It really seems like you're trying to really get a handle on this whole data analysis thing.
Yeah, and it's a smart move. Data analysis is becoming so vital, I mean, across so many fields these days.
For sure, for sure. So to start off, I guess can we just lay down like what even is data analysis? I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes, it's used as this sort of catch-all term, and it's kind of hard to like really get down to what it actually means.
Yeah, no, you're right. It can be a pretty broad term. But at its core, it's all about, transforming raw data, all those scattered bits of information, into actionable insights. It's about finding the stories, right? The ones hidden within the numbers, and then
Yeah.
using those insights to, help make smarter decisions, whether we're talking business or research, or even just everyday life.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But why is it such a big deal like right now? I mean, it seems like everyone's talking about data analysis these days.
Yeah.
What's driving all this interest?
Well, it's a bunch of factors, really. We're living in this age of like unprecedented data generation. Every click you make online, every purchase, every sensor reading, it's all generating data.
Oh, wow.
And then you've got the rise of these super powerful computing tools, and now we can process and analyze this data in ways that, I mean, we couldn't have even imagined just a few years ago.
Wow, so it's like a whole new world.
Yeah, exactly. It means we can unlock these insights that were like totally hidden before, leading to better decision making, really, in every field imaginable.
So it's not just about having the data, it's about like knowing what to actually do with it, right?
Right, exactly. And that's precisely where data analysis comes in. It's the bridge between that raw data and meaningful action.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now, in the sources you sent over, they mentioned all these different types of data analysis, descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. It's kind of a lot to keep straight, honestly. Can you break those down for me a bit, like how they all fit together?
Absolutely. Imagine you're running a business, right? Well, descriptive analysis is like taking inventory. It tells you it's happening right now, like your sales figures, website traffic, customer demographics. It paints the picture of the current state of affairs.
So it's like a snapshot.
Precisely. Now, diagnostic analysis. It takes that snapshot and digs a little deeper. It's asking, okay, why are sales down in this region? Or why this spike in website traffic from, this particular source? And it helps you figure out the causes behind the trends you're seeing.
So it's moving from the what to the why.
Exactly. Now, predictive analysis, this is where it gets really interesting. It's about using that historical data and the trends you're seeing to anticipate, what might happen in the future, like forecasting sales, predicting when a customer might leave, or even identifying potential risks down the line.
Wow, that's incredibly valuable,
Mhm.
especially for businesses, right? Trying to stay ahead of the curve. But is it really possible to like predict the future using data? How reliable even are those predictions?
That's a great question. Predictive analysis isn't about, seeing the future with absolute certainty. It's more about using data to identify probabilities,
Yeah.
potential outcomes, and how accurate those predictions are. Well, it depends on a few things, like the quality of the data you're using, the algorithms, how sophisticated those are, and just, how inherently predictable the thing you're trying to model even is.
So not a crystal ball then, but it can give you some good insight into what might happen.
Exactly. And finally, we've got prescriptive analysis. This builds on the insights from all the previous types. It doesn't just predict what might happen, but also suggests, actions to take to achieve a certain outcome. For example, it might suggest adjusting your marketing budget in specific areas
Yeah.
to boost sales. Or maybe personalize customer interactions to, try to keep them from going to a competitor.
Oh, I see. So going from what might happen to what should we do about it, that's where the real power of data analysis comes in, right?
Precisely. It's about turning insights into action, using that data to drive strategic decision making.
This is all starting to click now. So we've got these different types of analysis, each one building on the last.
Yeah.
But what does like the actual process of data analysis look like? Is it all, algorithms and complex software doing their magic? I feel like there's like this whole world going on behind the scenes to make it all happen. What's actually happening in that process?
Well, there's definitely some, technical stuff involved, especially as you get into the more complex analyses. But it's not just algorithms taking over, right? Data analysis is really a process, a systematic one, a series of steps to help you get to those valuable insights from the raw data.
Okay, so walk me through it. Like, where do you even begin when you've got, this mountain of data?
Well, the most crucial first step is defining the right question. What are you actually trying to learn from this data? What problem are you trying to solve? Or what decision are you trying to make? If you don't have a clear objective, you're just, kind of wandering aimlessly in this sea of numbers.
So before you even touch the data, you need to have a goal in mind.
Absolutely. Starting with a well-defined question, it focuses your efforts, and it makes sure you're getting the most relevant insights from the data.
Makes sense. So once you have the question, then what?
Then comes data collection. This is where you're gathering all the data that's relevant to your question from, all sorts of sources. Could be anything from customer surveys, sales transactions, maybe website traffic logs, social media interactions, that kind of thing.
So many different types of info, depending on what you're looking at.
Exactly. And that brings us to a step that a lot of people overlook, but it's incredibly important. Data cleaning. Think of it like prepping your ingredients before you start cooking. You got to make sure your data is accurate, complete, and consistent.
So, are we talking literally scrubbing the data?
Well, it can involve a lot of different tasks, like removing duplicates, correcting errors, filling in missing values, standardizing formats. Imagine you're looking at customer purchase data, but some of the entries have typos in the addresses. That makes it, difficult to group customers by region. So data cleaning would involve fixing those errors to make sure your analysis is accurate.
So it's meticulous, but I can see why it's so important for getting reliable results.
Absolutely. Garbage in, garbage out, right? Bad data leads to bad decisions. And that's definitely something we want to avoid.
For sure. So data's all squeaky clean, then what? Is that when the algorithms come in?
Exactly. Data analysis is where you really start digging into the data, trying to find those patterns, the trends. This is where you apply those statistical techniques, the data visualization tools, and even machine learning algorithms to really extract meaning from all those numbers.
Okay, now it's starting to sound a bit more technical. Do you have to be like a coding whiz to handle this part?
Well, coding skills definitely help for the more advanced stuff, but you don't need to be a programming expert to get started. There are tons of, user-friendly tools out there that can help you analyze data, even as a beginner.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So what kind of tools are we talking about?
Well, you mentioned Excel earlier, and it's actually a great starting point for data analysis. It has built-in functions for calculations, charts, even some basic statistical analysis.
So you can do a lot with a tool that a lot of people already have.
Exactly. And then as you get more comfortable, you can explore more specialized tools like Tableau or Power BI. Those are fantastic for creating interactive visualizations and dashboards. They can really make those insights pop.
Dashboards, that sounds impressive.
Yeah.
Are those mainly for, presenting your findings?
They're great for communication, yeah, but they're also powerful tools for exploring data yourself. You can interact with the data, drill down into different levels of detail, uncover insights that you might not see in, static charts or tables.
So it's a whole spectrum of tools, from simple spreadsheets to, super sophisticated visualization software. But even with the right tools, I imagine there are still challenges with data analysis, right?
Oh, you're absolutely right. It's not always a smooth ride. Like we talked about, data quality is paramount. Even with the best tools, bad data will give you unreliable results.
So that cleaning step is really important.
Exactly. And another challenge is just the sheer volume of data these days. It can be really overwhelming to sift through it all and try to find, the signal and all the noise.
It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Exactly. And that's where strong analytical skills are so important. It's not just knowing how to use the tools, it's being able to really think about the data, critically evaluate it, identify patterns, and draw, meaningful conclusions.
You don't just blindly trust the numbers.
Exactly. And that brings us to another challenge, the need for domain expertise. Data analysis isn't just about, crunching numbers. To really understand those insights, you have to understand the context, the specific field or industry that you're analyzing.
So you need to be able to connect the dots between the data and, the real world.
Precisely. Combining those technical skills with real-world knowledge to get those truly actionable insights.
It's all making a lot more sense now. Okay, so we've covered, the different types of analysis, the steps involved, even some of the challenges, but let's bring it back to our listener for a second. Thinking about your own job or even your interests, where do you see data analysis playing a role? Have you run into any of these challenges yourself?
That's a great question to think about.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about data being the new gold. So what skills do you need to be like a data prospector?
Yeah.
To find that value.
Yeah,
It's like we're moving from this world where data was just sitting there to one where it's like actively driving all these decisions.
yeah, that's a great way to put it. And to really thrive in this, data-driven world, you need a certain set of skills. It's not just about, being good at math. It's about being a data storyteller,
Yeah.
someone who can take that data and get the meaning out of it
Hmm.
and then communicate it in a way that's clear, compelling, and most importantly, actionable.
So you need to be able to speak the language of data, but also like translate it for those who don't.
Exactly. It's this blend of, technical skills, analytical thinking, and then you need that communication part too. You have to be comfortable working with the different tools and technologies, but you also have to be able to think critically, identify patterns, and come to, meaningful conclusions. And once you have those insights, you have to be able to explain them to whoever needs to hear them, whether it's your boss, clients, even the public.
It seems like data analysis is becoming less of a like specialized skill and more something everyone needs to know, at least a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like in the same way that basic literacy and, math are important today, data literacy is becoming essential. It's the ability to understand and interpret data, to think about it critically, and then use it to make decisions.
Wow, this has been a really fascinating deep dive. I'm like seeing data analysis in a whole new light. It's not just about numbers. It's about unlocking insights, telling stories, and ultimately, making better decisions in all parts of our lives.
And don't forget, the world of data is always changing, so the learning never really stops. There are always new tools coming out, new techniques, and of course, new challenges.
That's an ongoing adventure.
Exactly.
Well, looks like we've successfully navigated our way through this deep dive into the fascinating world of data analysis. Thanks for joining us.